I'm just afraid that he might look a little too much like my Uncle Dragon. Would feel bad slaying that fella. You know, hunched back, hairy, crooked teeth. Is that a werewolf or just Uncle Dragon? You can't tell. Same fate befell Aunt Olga.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Nah, that hag had it coming.
My shipment of infusions finally arrived this morning, and I have access to some fake crystals and frozen pine cones. Together with Fable's phoenix chilies, I have 3 infusions now. I'll unpack them later when I have some time. I have a feeling they'll be of use soon. Hello, you two.
So, Inkeep. A drink for me and this lanky pal.
It's good to see you too, Caerlin.
She meant to say please.
Welcome back, Fable. You look alive.
Thank you. I am. It seems like a given.
I'm just happy to see them doing well, and with a friend.
We ain't friends. We're not?
So you two didn't form a party?
No.
Oh. Then what's the drink about?
They may be very annoying, but they did help me solve a family feud of 10 years. So I do owe them some of your dishwater at the very least.
Family feud?
I wouldn't call it feud. More of a miscommunication. No, it was a feud. I feel like feud implies a certain level of hostility. I was gonna kill him. I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. Oh.
But no one died?
No. Elfie here was able to prevent that. It's Fable. Whatever.
Does this perchance have something to do with your quest?
It does. I stopped her from killing the werewolf.
Elaborate, please?
I was going to kill the werewolf. They stopped me from killing the werewolf. What's there not to get?
A lot.
I think she is confused because the quest was to save the villagers from the werewolf. And now it sounds like I saved the werewolf from you. Which I did. Kind of.
I also remember you saying you didn't want the quest, Caerlin.
I didn't. I was there by chance. They were both stealing sheep. It was not?
Sure was. I've never seen Fable so angry before.
Adventuring don't pay what it used to. So you steal other people's sheep? Mind your own business.
How did any of this lead to a successful quest?
Well, where do I start?
How about at the beginning?
Right. I was born on a half-crescent dreaming moon.
Of the quest, Fable.
Right, the quest. Traveling there was no trouble. I know enough shortcuts to travel through the Ashen Grove swiftly. I reached the borders of Caerlin right around dusk. The Ashen Grove thins out around there, and you can catch a glimpse of the wide fields and vineyards, as well as see one farm after the other. An idyllic sight. Well, at least before sunset.
Do you have trouble in the dark?
Emotionally?
Visually?
A little. I mean, I reckon I can still see more than a human could, but darkness is darkness. I am no owl. Thank gods, you're already weird enough. Imagine the damage you'd do if you could turn your head all the way around. Who says I can't? Just kidding. Anyway, luckily darkness doesn't affect my hearing.
Not the normal kind?
What?
Nothing.
Okay, I heard a creaking fence and footsteps that were failing at keeping quiet. Your ears are failing at being small. So I snuck closer and I saw the werewolf-esque shape picking up a tiny sheep. I was petting it. Well, I thought she was going to eat it, so I summoned up all my courage and I stepped out of the shadows and I said, "Good evening, werewolf. Please put the sheep down." I didn't expect them to entirely in their right mind, of course, but I wanted to be polite. And I thought I might confuse her and maybe that would help calm her down. It confused me, all right. Who the heck is a werewolf and the first thing they do is greet them? A polite person. Or an insane one. It worked, didn't it? Because I ain't no werewolf. He wasn't that different. But I'm skipping ahead. To my surprise, instead of a growl, the werewolf, or not werewolf, responded with a what? So the confusion plan had worked, but I hadn't really expected that response. So I said again, "Please put down the sheep." And she asked, "Why?" And I said, "Well, because stealing sheep isn't very nice." And she asked who I was. No, I asked, "Who are you, a guard?" I was about to introduce myself when we heard this blood-curdling howl. It sounded like someone had ripped a hole into the fabric of reality and then pierced it with a horrible yell. Please, it was barely a bark. And it made my blood freeze in my veins. I heard panting and heavy footsteps, and I barely dared to turn around. He turned around immediately. And when I did, I stared into the twisted face of a werewolf, yellow gleaming eyes. Gleaming with jaundice. Sharp teeth, giant claws. He looked like he wanted to eat me right up. He did. But before I could beg for mercy, suddenly something rushed past me and lunged at the werewolf. And when I regained my composure, Caerlin and the werewolf were on the ground, fighting tooth and nail. And the sheep you were holding? Obviously, I set it down at that point. Good. So you went to Fable's aid? No, that ain't it. I noticed the wolf's flannel rags. They were blue checkered and uneven print. Just like the kind of stuff that Uncle Dragon used to wear. Little bastard. Hey, why can't I say that? Oh, I was supposed to sense that myself. Whoops. What the... Youth protection. The age rating system is quite harsh. Not on this channel. I'm gonna let Caerlin swear. Fuck. Anyway, it was just like Uncle Dragon, smelled like Uncle Dragon, fought like him too. I was joking when I brought it up before, you know? Haven't seen that old man in years. I was coping about by joking. That's the only way I can talk about him these days. Because of the feud? Yes. He used to be my favorite uncle, but then he changed. Became irritable and angry, distant. Fought a lot with Uncle Feder. Cared more about the moon than he did his own family. Eventually he just left. Ran away without a word. Left us, Uncle Feder, behind, where it's senseless. Until we found a letter saying not to look for him and all their savings missing. Swore I was gonna kill him if I ever saw him again. I always thought he couldn't face up to his problems. Turns out his solution was just to get those problems as far away from anyone else as possible. Idiot.
Did you talk it out with your fists?
I tried, but Elfie stopped me. I'm glad they did.
How did you figure that out?
Well, she was yelling at him. I didn't understand half of it, but I could tell she was angry and hurt. I tried to get their attention by telling them to stop, but they wouldn't listen, so I shot an arrow right... I shot an arrow right next to both of their heads. My aim was a little shaky, so I did end up grazing Mr. Dragon's ear. But it got them to stop for long enough to start listening to me. I threatened them that if they didn't stop to talk, I would shoot them both. I never would have done that, of course. But they must have believed me because they actually stopped to listen. Looked mighty scary there, little pal. Thank you. I sat them down and did my best to be an insurmountable obstacle between them. If they wanted to fight, they would have to go through me.
That sounds rather dangerous.
"'Twas. Wouldn't have stopped for them." "What? You're the size of a stick. You think you could stop two angry wolves?" "Oh, well... Anyway, I used the opportunity to figure out what was going on. And that's how I found out about Mr. Draken and Caerlin and the miscommunication. The feud. Sure. Turns out that after Mr. Draken had turned, he was too ashamed to admit it. But he couldn't stop the changes and ended up hurting all the people he cared about. That's no excuse, of course. No, it ain't. If we had known, we would have helped him the best we could. At the very least, we would have built a sturdy shed with scratch-proof walls or full moons. He didn't think that would have happened, though. So he decided to fix the problem by leaving, deal with it alone, and so on. But that only made it worse. Of course, he was too embarrassed to come back, so he just focused on the whole werewolf thing and not any human things, or Vuka King things, so to speak. Trying to find a cure, trying to avoid the moon, trying to find a place to sleep, stealing sheep. That's something they have in common. The sheep? No, the stubbornness, the unwillingness to ask for help. But the sheep too. But they had to talk about it. The silent resentment wasn't good for either of them.
And you got them to do that?
The little stick is oddly persuasive. I was talking about it before I realized I didn't want to.
Maybe because you did want to.
Maybe.
How did it go?
Fine. Would take some time to accept his apology. We'll have to see him change first, and apologize to Uncle Feder and the rest. But it was good to see him again. Guess a hug did feel better than a great sword in his gut.
Wonderful.
Of course, there's still a problem with the whole werewolf thing. Idiot got so obsessed with the cure he can barely control himself. We helped him realize that a cure wouldn't change what he'd done. That he had to accept he's different now, and learn how to live again. Of course, it won't be easy. No change ever is. I learned that from you. But we have a group of werewolves living near our settlement. A small community that enjoys the company of our warm trees. We play charades with them a lot, and they taught me about the phases of the 7 moons and the secret of the moon signs. That sounds like a bunch of bullshit. It's real. You're a crescent moose. We introduced Mr. Dragon to them, and they promised they would take him in and help him deal with his lycanthropy.
That sounds great.
It is. It's a happy ending.
I wouldn't call it an ending, rather the beginning of something new.
So, the end of one adventure is just the beginning of another one?
Exactly.
I like that.
So, after your heroic therapy session, you two decided to grab a drink together?
Got offered to spend the day at the settlement. But they don't serve anything strong enough for my tastes. Plus, Elfie was dying to get back here. Was talking about how they need to update you on everything non-stop. I think they live here or something. I had to report back about the quest.
And I'm glad you did.
They also started crafting something with the werewolves. Said something about being for you, Inkeep.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not finished yet, but I'll let you know, I promise. That wasn't hard, was it? Oh, well.
So, a drink. What can I offer you, Caerlin?
Surprise me with something that fits my brawn. By which I mean, make me the usual. Strength never gets old.
Alrighty, I think it's... Actually, I don't remember how it is. Southern Brawler. Okay, yeah. Bit of this. This. Surprise!
Not bad. You should do this professionally.
I'll think about it. Fable, what about you?
Do you have something that'll calm me down? Maybe even bring back some of my agility? Like a swift strike, back to my senses. I've had a stressful day, night, morning, sequence of events.
No problem. Oops. Help if I put the thing on the wall, wouldn't it?
Here you go. Thank you. Wow, this is perfect.
You look tired. Have you considered sleep?
They do look like they're going to pass out any second.
So do you.
Maybe sleep is a good idea. Caerlin, do you have a place to sleep? I can sleep anywhere. It's a talent.
It's depressing. I have a room available. You can stay there.
That sounds good. How much?
I'll count it as payment for your help with the quest.
Fine. Later, Alfie. See you later.
Are you heading home, Fable?
Yes, I've been gone a whole day. I need to get back and make sure everything is still correctly growing.
Maybe take a nap first?
Yes, that too.
Did you enjoy your first quest?
I did. It was scary and different from what I expected. And I didn't know I was so good at pretending to be charming.
Have you considered that you weren't pretending? You did well, Fable.
Thank you. I hope that wasn't my only adventure.
I think this is just the beginning.
That would be nice. Do you think I'm going to save the world someday?
It's a very tall order.
You're right, I'm not cut out for that.
I didn't say that. I would just prefer it if the world didn't end.
Right.
But if it does, you're the first person I'd ask for help.
Maybe you should ask Caerlin first, but I'd be happy to be second.
We'll see.
Let's hope we won't. I like this world, and you have a point. We shouldn't hope for such a calamity. Even if it would make for a good song.
Or a sad one.
Both. I'm going to head home now.
Do that. I'll stock up on quests for you.
I can't wait. See you soon.
See you soon. Hello? You don't have your hood on today? Good evening to you too. Oh, okay.
This quest. It wasn't here yesterday.
Yeah, that's correct.
It seems dangerous.
It is.
And mysterious.
Sure.
Like me.
You could be a little less mysterious by telling me your name.
Zephyr.
Did the wind carry you in?
No, my legs. I want that quest.
Well, you can have it.
Not just literally, physically, emotionally.
Emotionally?
I want to take on that quest. Go to the castle, get the cape. I mean... yes.
Uh-huh. Well, no one has gone to the castle yet, so if someone would like to go, they would be welcome to. So you know of the castle? Yeah? It seems strange. It is. A vampire lives there. I heard rumors, whisperings, of a strange fiendish woman residing there. What a coincidence. Me too. Has she ever frequented your tavern? No, not recently. But she has. Once at a vampire mixer. Interesting. So, she was only here at night? Yeah? Would you say she was unnaturally pale? No, she had a lot of makeup on. Below that mask. Sure, yeah. Would guess she looks pretty dead below that. What kind of drink did she order? Blood? Interest. You sell blood? Of course. Whose blood? Did you hear about the wolves avoid in the castle? Really? All of them? Yeah, she had a lot of werewolf traps set up, but all the animals steer clear of Marrow Castle. They say its doors are always locked, so nothing can go inside or leave. And anything that tries to merges into a land in one way or another. As a grave, a pile of decorative bones, dirt feeding rotting flowers. They say death clings to her doorstep like an everlasting melody. Sounds like a strange place. Like a tomb for something still alive. For a goth. Goth or vampire? She seems to be a thief. It appears so. Do you not sympathize with that? Thievery is an honorable skill, but it must be performed in secret. Or you're not worth the coins you pocket. Also, stealing a man's cape is just plain rude. I suppose. Only thing worse than that is stealing a man's hat. Not if it's cursed. Especially then. Point is, if you can't defend yourself from having your trophies reclaimed, you must live with the consequences. The consequences being you? Exactly. It definitely sounds like you know what you're doing. Of course I do. I am one with the shadows and the wind, gone before they even notice I'm there. So you could easily swipe something else along with the cape, right? Certainly. Gold, gemstones, other treasures, whatever pays the bills. What about some interior decorations? Like what, for example? Just something to pretty up my tavern a little bit. Maybe something useful that also doubles as a decoration. Like a chair. Stealing a whole chair sounds a little too ambitious for your first quest with me. At first something smaller, like a little trinket. My walls are a bit empty. Wait, you're being serious? Absolutely. A memento that once belonged to an eccentric vampire sounds like a wonderful addition to the tavern. I'll see what I can do. You won't be disappointed. Well then, I trust you to deliver yourself to her doorstep and the cape back to me. Along with a neat little addition for my interior design. Sounds like I'll need a few stamps. Would you like some? No, too traceable. How about a drink then? I could do with one of those. I heard your drinks inspire transformations of great magnitude. Allow you to dip into parts of yourself that you weren't previously aware of. Raise yourself up from your shadow. Say, what do you trade them for? Huh? Secrets. Secrets. I have many. Well, grab me one. I shall. I know this may come as a shock to you, but I was here before, just yesterday. You may not remember because you barely noticed me in the shadows. I was so stealthy, I spent hours just watching you from afar. That is definitely a secret. You cleaned a lot of glasses, served everyone with a smile. You looked so worried after the adorable green one left. Like you thought they might trip straight into a monster's maw. And you're swift with your hands and fast with the knife. Alright, enough secrets. You may have one of my renowned drinks. And some of my renowned infusions. In fact, I just got a fresh shipment today. Was finally able to unpack them. Infusions? Intriguing. What vile magic do you have to offer? Now for your purposes, I think you could benefit from either fey crystals or a frozen pinecone. The frozen pinecones have absorbed some of nature's icy properties. They can help you form a magical frost barrier that will hurt those trying to harm you. The face crystals hail from Avalon, allegedly. If consumed, you'll turn invisible, eventually, and for a bit. The duration is a bit unpredictable. Also got some phoenix chilies, but I don't think those would be very useful for your situation. Interesting. So what dark depths of yourself are you looking to explore? I fear that Lady Evelyn may be of the undead nature. So I must be strong and vigorous if I want my stake in her heart before her fangs are near my neck. Though that does sound appealing. Strength I can do. And some frost armor would help with those fangs. Or perhaps the smarter route would be to evade her wrath entirely. To out-stealth her and steal the cape from right under her pale nose. So that she may lie in shame of having lost against me. I think such an approach would require a certain amount of dexterity. And some invincibility would help with staying unseen should my speed and agility not be enough. Help me with the decision and keep. Your wisdom is no secret, is it? Okay. Now that I have access to infusions, I have to be careful of how they interact with other ingredients. They might alter a drink in a different way, where I have to use different ingredients than usual. I should make sure to keep an eye on the cluster shape so that I mix a correct recipe. Maybe I should try adding an infusion first and adjusting the drink from there. Let's give it a try. Okay. So, I think I want him to be stealthy because I want him to steal extra stuff for me. So I'm gonna do the Swift Strike. And we'll use the Fey Crystals. Okay. So I need to always do the infusions first, so let's put a little bit of this. And then the rest of it should be this. There we go. Here you go. A drink that all vampires fear. Garlic breath. Not quite, but that's a good name. Can I steal it? You don't have permission before you steal something and keep. Then it's no longer a clever ruse, but a mere trade. I see. Did you hear about my new drink, the garlic breath? Good one. It tastes like... not garlic, but just as fearsome. To a vampire. You don't find garlic scary? No, only the absence of it. It makes two of us. Hopefully this will help me evade her. I'm not prepared for a fight, but I won't need one if my steps are as swift and quiet as the wind. And if she can't see me. Goodbye, Innkeep. I would pray that the sun will carry me back to you. But my hopes do not lie in the Realm Keepers, and I shall be damned if they control my fate. Expect to see me again after the next sunfall. If you do not, speak of vengeance. Vengeance makes for an early grave. Or for a good story. Farewell! Okay, so we finally got information on Zephyr. Let's have a look. Kyle finally has a write-up. Okay, a peculiar visitor looking everywhere for his beloved cape. However, it seems that he has definitely lost more than just that. Possibly also a few of his memories. And his marbles. He was once married to Lady Evelyn, a vampire countess residing in Mara Castle, and enjoys sunbathing. Maybe a tad bit too much. And Zephyr? Okay, so he's an air echo. He's 25. He, they pronouns. Rogue. He's from Themis. Chaotic good, that's surprising. And the moon. Zephyr is a difficult character, to say the least. They're so caught up in their own fantasies of an edgy rogue that they seem to be stuck talking or brooding like one too. He likes all things dangerous and mysterious, or at least he pretends he does. Oh, little goth. I'm taking this quest and a drink. Great. Did you sleep well? What? Sleep. How was it? Ah, fine. But too long. Didn't sleep that much in ages. Sounds like you needed it. No, your beds are just too comfortable. It's hard to get up. Of course, my apologies. I'll make sure to take your feedback into consideration. Would you like a drink as compensation? I think I already said that. Make me something strong that will wake me up and keep me up too. Alright. Something strong. On the Southern Brawler. Ah, shit. Something strong coming right up. That is strong. Just the right amount of it too. Maybe I should call this drink the Caerlin. No, he shouldn't. Anyway, the quest. Yeah, the quest. I'm taking it. So you said. I see it is my turn to make conversation. I miss Fable. Is it a bit too soon for another quest? You just returned. It has been hours since I've done anything but sleep, chat and drink. And I'm getting antsy. If I sit still for too long, it feels like my bones are disintegrating and I forget who I am. I think that's called boredom. It's torture. That too. Well, boring is not what I would call this quest in the slightest. Stealing from a chimera for a vampire's sunscreen? Gonna get more reckless than that? It could by taking Elfie along. Fair point. Please don't. I won't. So this live is for a vampire. Vampire sunscreen. Can't a vampire get the chimera goo themselves? It's a wyvern chimera. Vampires and fire don't mix very well. Also, if everyone just did their own quests, the quest economy would be in shambles. Suppose that'd be terrible business for you. Indeed. Have you ever encountered a chimera before? No, not the real one. Gotta be thinking, ain't it kinda blasphemous to steal from a draconic guardian? Depends, are you religious? Guess not. Then no. Would it be if I was? I don't think so. Chimeras steal riches all the time, and they were created to be guardians by the protectors of the realms. So, stealing something to protect someone else seems in line with the doctrine. Good thing you ain't a priest.
You do a piss poor job.
Thank you. Is blasphemy what you're most worried about?
I ain't worried.
Okay, nervous?
I ain't that either.
Then what is it?
Excitement, I suppose.
Excitement?
Don't laugh.
I'm not laughing, I'm asking.
Ah. Yes, excitement. I've never encountered a guardian before. And I've always sort of wanted to.
Then why haven't you?
It ain't exactly easy to find one, or to survive one.
This seems like a great opportunity for you then.
It is.
What's it about guardians?
It's less about the guardian and more about what created it. And maybe a little about the chimera. Got a dragon head, right?
Yeah, modeled after its creator, I would guess. So let me rephrase that. What is it about dragons and chimeras with dragon heads?
They're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when I was little, my baba used to tell me bedtime stories about the dragons every night. She was a great adventurer and counted many of their creations on her journeys. Not sure if it's true, but she always claimed that she met each of the realm keepers themselves. Had little keepsakes for them and all. My sword's one of those. Passed it on to me before she...
Passed?
left. One day she was just gone. I think she wanted to spend her last moments somewhere else. Like to think she visited one of her dragons one last time.
Your family has a leaving problem.
At least she left our savings alone. That sword and her stories are all I have left of her. Going on this quest, it almost feels like I'm stepping into a memory of hers.
Did she ever tell you about a wyvern chimera?
No. Was the only kind she never encountered. Had quarrels with those feline ones, different varieties of scales, even a cow one, I think, but never found a wyvern one in all her years. It would have been nice to actually be able to tell her the story when I return. If I return.
I'm sure you will. You can tell the story to me. I don't know if I made for a good baba, but I do enjoy a good tale.
I'll think about it. You already got me talking too much.
This is you talking too much?
So, do you like dragons?
I do. Fascinating creatures. Very interesting. Very magical.
They are fascinating and magical. Used to pretend I was one when I was little. Really wanted their magic and their wings.
You could just ask them for their magic. I'm not sure about their wings.
I ain't a priest either. Besides, I'm a warrior. Don't do all that magic bullshit.
Why not?
I like my sword and my muscles. They're a good combo. And I don't rely on anyone, not even dragons.
A little help never hurt anyone.
A little self-reliance don't either. If you say so. Does that mean you don't want a drink to pep you up, Caerlin? Didn't say that.
I see. That doesn't count as help?
It's prepayment for me taking on your quest.
Sure. You'll be happy to hear that I have some incredible infusions to offer that could greatly help with your quest.
Nah, that sounds unnecessarily complicated. Let's keep it simple.
Alright, what can I get you then?
I reckon a bit of a boost for this body couldn't hurt. Where they're quick and toothy, so I'll need to be hardy for its bite. Some defense might come in handy. Or something for the brain. Baba told quite a lot about how they enjoy a good ruse. Maybe I can outsmart it with the right play. But I need some intelligence for that. Won't be risking it all on a bad idea.
You sure you don't want any infusions? Just a little bit of phoenix chili would make you fire resistant. Could be very useful in a fight.
Dragons, you're stubborn. Sure, I'll try one.
And on this topic of trickery,
no, one is enough. Either you mix defense with your weird chilies or you go heavy on the intelligence. Don't need to do any more of your fancy tricks. I don't care which you pick. That's your job. Figure it out.
Okay. So. I can do defense with the chili, or I can just do... Which is the intelligence one? Is it Sparkling Nebula? I've never had to make this one before. I've had to make a Frosted Lagoon once. I think I'll do Frosted Lagoon. With the chili infusion. Okay. Do this one first, actually.
Figured it out. Thanks. Feeling tougher already. And dangerously close to catching fire myself. Think I could almost take on a dragon like this. Let's stay grounded. How urgent is the sunscreen?
Pretty urgent. The sun tends to not take a break, even for vampires.
Maybe he should sunbathe less then. That might solve his problems.
Might. But when has an easy solution ever been fun?
Good point. I'll see what I can do. Maybe they got some mice in that mangrove.
Good luck.
Won't be needing it.
I'll be waiting to hear of your exploits upon your return.